Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is once again time for a shop tour, and we've got all sorts of fun little things to talk about as we're rolling into the fall and getting ready to head towards winter. Here we are, second week in October, October 12th. So my runoffs is over. So now we've got new projects and new things to talk about. First thing I want to show you is what stopped Steven Simons at the runoffs. So this is actually, so Steven runs a stock transmission with Quaife close ratio gears. You can't really get these very easily anymore. Fortunately, the gears are all in good shape, but what happened was, and I can't even tell you how many races he's got on this transmission because it's a lot. But here's what happened. So I got the transmission and it was literally stuck in fourth gear and the shifter was in neutral. So this is your third, fourth slider hub, and this is your third, fourth shift fork. Now you can see the wear on the shift fork, and what happens is these get so loose. See the play in there? These get so loose that when you go to engage fourth gear and then you come out of it to downshift, it actually doesn't disengage fourth all the way, and all of a sudden now your shifter, your hockey puck, is out of fourth, but now it's in neutral and you're stuck in fourth, so he had nowhere to go. So that's what an old one looks like. So I mean, these wear. This is a cast iron shift fork. This is just what Mazda puts in them, and over time these wear. So you get all this play like this. Here's the brand new one, and you can see has pretty much zero play, just enough for it to slide. Look how little that is. So between that and, as you can see here, a couple of broken synchronizers in pieces, yeah, he basically had no chance. So, and of course, like anything, if something's going to break, it's going to break at the runoffs, during the race, after the whole season's gone perfect. So, welcome to the runoffs land. That's just the way it is. So, anyway, been working on a bunch of these differentials. You can see I've got one here I'm just getting ready to take apart. This is kind of what they look like initially. Got a couple back. You can see they've got the green paint on them. One of them, it would appear the pinion bearings tightened up on. The other one, it would appear that the Torsen limited slip went bad on it. So a couple of refreshes on these here. And as you can see over here, I've got another core. And this gives you a really good idea of how they come in and how they go out. So this is a bone stock 4.1 Miata differential. They can look like 4.3s, it doesn't really matter, but you can see afterwards with all the restoration of the case and setting it up properly how much prettier they are. And not only that, you know, getting the bearing preload correct and getting the backlash correct is really critical. So that's why these guys send me all these differentials. So looking pretty good on these, coming down to the end, just a couple more to go and we'll be looking good. Did get a new project in, and this is actually the old Peter Davis STL Integra. It's got a B18 C1 engine in it. And these guys that purchased this car wanted to take it and go endurance racing with it. So they took it to a race last weekend, and my guess is that we've got a blown head gasket because it started compressing the cooling system and overheating in about 4 hours. And then they just couldn't control it after that. So we've got some diagnosing to do. I think pretty much all they have done with it is put in this big honking fuel cell in the back for endurance racing. You can see it's got this brand new huge ATL fuel cell with a big vent bottle and a quick fill over here. So the car's kind of been changed over a little bit to be an endurance race car. They took it up to the Lemons race at Elkhart Lake, and they made a few hours with it, but now we've got got a few more things to do. So next to that car, we have another new PME racing engine for the GT1 Camaro. So this is a brand new engine, and Steve wanted me to build, I know we've talked about this before, you can see inside this crate, PME built this really nice, this is how you ship an engine, guys. You build a really nice bracket system, engine cradle that holds the motor in place, is bolted into the crate, has a lid, obviously. This is how we ship motors properly. What Steve wanted was something where he could have his spare engine ready to go and ready to roll into the trailer and out of the trailer. So I just built this entire bracket system on these really nice casters with 2 that turn and 2 that don't. So that way, with a really heavy engine like this, it's really easy to move around. And you can see it worked out really good. These are some really nice heavy-duty non-steel casters that should roll over bumps and in and out of the trailer. But got that completed, so we're looking good there. So, as you guys know, if you've been watching these shop tours for a while, we always have to have another engine ready for this car. So, car's actually getting ready to go up to Chicago this winter to a chassis builder who's going to strip it down to the bare frame. We're going to reclip the front of the car. He's going to build it all back up. You know, the car's about 7 years old now from when it was new from Ave, and the car's going to go kind of get redone. That is not something that I do when it comes to building GT tube frame chassis, so he's going to get that done, and then we'll get the car back first of the year, and we'll be back to doing our prep and showing you guys everything that we've got going on, as well as some of the upgrades and really cool things that we've done this fall and for next season. So that'll be fun. Did get in, this is actually a B20. You don't see these too often, but this is a B20 engine, and it's kind of a core, but as you can see on this other side over here, it's also mainly just for nuts and bolts, because we've got a window here that does not work. You can actually see the journal in there. So I don't honestly know what all's going to be really good on this motor, but at least I've got nuts and bolts, because these guys also dropped off a bare block and a cylinder head, and we're going to build a new engine and kind of get things up and going again. Another endurance engine for an Integra. So that's kind of what we're doing there. Now, I told you guys we were going to be talking about the Mazda 2 this winter. I've been working on it every morning. Remember, my 15-20 minutes a day, it never ends. So, what have I been doing this week? I've been installing the new radio system. You can see I've got my antenna on top. One of the things to be aware of when you're running a radio system is to keep your antenna wire away from everything else. So I'm actually running the wire up along the headboard, down along the frame, and I'm keeping it away from everything. So the reason being is because you can get a lot of interference. So I've got my cable here. Probably by next week you'll see that I'll have it mounted. But you want to keep that antenna cable not only away from frequencies like major power wires and tack wires and things like that, but you also don't want to take this antenna wire and coil it up like this. These things work best if you can keep them long and straight. If you do need to coil it, make really big loops. So getting ready to install that there. I pulled the belts out of the bottom of the seat because I'm going to move those around a little bit. I was thinking about moving the seat a little. I think I've kind of rethought that, but I'm getting ready to figure out exactly where I want to mount the dash. So as well as the cameras. So you can see here I've kind of got things laid out a little bit. So I've got my GPS for the dash. This is the LCU1, which is AIM's version of an oxygen sensor, which very conveniently integrates directly into an expansion port. This is the beautiful thing about AIM. You can run a million different things into these and then run this into the back of your dash. and you can actually run this into another expansion port, and you can just daisy chain these things and literally have as much information as you want. But you can see I've got the SmartyCam 3 Dual here. I've got my 2 lipstick cameras, which will slide directly into these really nice little AIM mounts. So kind of taking my time, figuring out everything that I need. You can see that I've got my, this is the plug for the SmartyCam. There's just, it may look a little overwhelming, but it actually is pretty simple once you get into it. If anybody's thinking about running an AIM dash like this, they've got these great plugs in the back. You know, it's all marine grade stuff, plugs right in, all of your connectors that you need. Really pretty cool. So I should have the roll bar mounts for the radio probably today, so we can get this mounted and get the power mounted. So just kind of chipping away. So while I was at it, I got the car jacked up, got all the tires sitting over here. We're going to look at the suspension and the hubs and the brakes. I've got an AccuSump replumb that we're going to be doing this winter. I've actually got a big list. Another thing that did come in, this car was running a lithium-ion battery. So I know that these super light lithium-ion batteries are like the new thing, but I just didn't trust it the way that it was charging. And I've probably talked about this before, but you can find these. These are made by Artec, A-R-T-E-C, and this is a really nice battery tray that I will bolt into the chassis and holds down the Optima battery that I'm going to be putting in. So I'm going to be adding a bit of weight into this car because of this battery, but I'm also finding a bunch of little things to pull out. I don't have the battery yet to show you guys, but it is one of those Monster Group 31T, whatever they are, 1200 cold cranking amp Optima batteries. So the battery box came in. I'm going to need to move the AccuSump around a little bit. But like I say, every week we'll kind of go over some of the things that I'm doing to the car so you can see exactly what's going on with it and see the progression. Because now that I'm able to take a breath and think about what we're going to do with this car, my goal is to go to COTA, Circuit of the Americas, I think it's probably like the second week in February. So when it's already October, to me, February is not that far away to have a new to me race car and all this new technology that I'm installing ready. So I'm going to keep chipping away so that this car is hopefully ready at the latest to go in like January, you know, between Christmas and New Year's, in that area. I want the car to be ready to go. So that's kind of our goal. You can see the BMW is gone. Those guys picked it up last week, and now the Mazda is in her spot. Shout out to those guys, Dean and Tyler. They're going to be heading down to Lake Garnett Grand Prix. So way back in the 60s, I don't know, 50s, 60s, Lake Garnett, which is actually only a couple hours south of here, maybe only an hour and a half. It's a racetrack in a park around a little lake, and if you haven't seen anything about this track, look it up. Super sketchy and not safe, and there's a real reason why we don't race there anymore. But they do this Grand Prix Revival Lake Garnett thing, and those guys are going to take the BMW down there just to kind of, so Tyler can drive it a little bit, make sure that their seating arrangement is working out for him, so he can learn about driving the car and shifting the car and the brakes and just how it works. So it was a huge breath last week to, you know, a little emotional getting the BMW out of here, as far as, you know, it was a really great car for me over the years. Speaking of the BMW, I actually wanted to dedicate this shop tour this week to Sam Moore, believe it or not. I got word this morning that Sam Moore passed away a couple days ago. Fortunately, if you guys have been watching some of these videos the last couple of years, you know that Sam and I haven't necessarily been getting along all that well. But he was the original builder of the BMW, the Z3. And I was actually able to talk to him and reconcile with him a little bit at the runoffs just a couple weeks ago. I don't really know the circumstances of his passing, but I do know that he passed away. So this shop tour is for Sam, and sorry to hear about that. Never a good thing when we lose one of our racing family. So not the most exciting thing to end the shop tour on, but as always, I appreciate you guys watching. And like anything in racing, we just got to keep pushing forward. So life is short, and we might as well do our best at having some fun while we've got our time. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'll see you next week.